December 17th, Jackson County Commission Work Session to order. Have a roll call.
District 1, Tim Guckey.
Present.
District 2, Jason Venable.
Present.
District 3, Dennis Noah.
Present.
District 4, Stacy Ludwig.
Present.
Have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Dennis. We need to have our agenda before us. We have 11 items on the agenda, so this time we're entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the work session. Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay. I will sign up as noted, so we'll move on to our discussion items. The first item is expenditures for the month of November. This very thin packet of papers that you have before you is the list of expenditures for November.
January, we decided that we're going to, I think between now and January, try to get you December's expenditures as quickly as possible after we close the month, and hopefully put both of those.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. The next item is to pay the sum of $5,287.36 to John Porter for services rendered in the month of November 2012. You have that, and we'll have that on the agenda immediately following. Next item, pay the sum of $3,805 to Coosa Valley Youth Services for services rendered in the month of November 2012. And this is also in your agenda immediately following. Okay, next item is advertisement for the position of Director of the Council on Aging. You have in your packets a letter from Ms. Rita Williams stating that she will be retiring effective December 31st. We appreciate the work she's done for us in that position, and we will need to fill that position, so I'd ask that we open or advertise that at the meeting following. Okay, next item is adjustments to the Park Department budget. We had discussed this somewhat last work session. Mrs. Erickson?
Yes, I believe Carl had provided a worksheet for you with some requests for line item changes, and
Next item was Roseberry Rescue Group. We don't have anyone here to represent that at this time, do we? So we'll move on to the next item, the organizational chart for the commission office. You should all have in your packets a copy of the organizational chart I'm putting forward. Making some changes, a couple of reasons. This is kind of what I want to present to you for each department and get that approved through the commission so that you're aware of the employees in each department. And this does make some changes. It brings the human resources, IT, and then the commission clerk under my direct supervision, and of course keeping the accounting under Ms. Erickson's supervision. So some slight changes. This is primary. The next item is a variance on County Road 81 for D&E mining. We discussed this at the previous work session and asked Mr. Porter to put together a resolution for that. Could you identify with sort of the specifics of that?
I can. In 2009, D&E asked for a variance to come closer to the county right-of-way than is allowed under the statute. Without the permission of the commission, there was a work session, a public hearing held in 2009. 2011, the commission actually granted the variance. At that point, I think it was 80 feet from Center Road. And so D&E has now come back to the commission and asked that they reduce that even further. The commission indicated that it wanted to consider that with certain conditions. And so the conditions will be that the berm be built between the surface and the 30-foot outside the 30-foot right-of-way. Before any mining is done in that area, they're required to make sure that they have a business license. They'll be in Jackson County. They'll be prohibited from boring under or augering under either the right-of-way or the road surface itself, so as not to degrade that. There is an indemnity provision in there that requires D&E to indemnify and hold the county harmless for damage to the road or the right-of-way, and also for any other injuries that may occur because they get so close to the right-of-way. If somebody runs off the road because of that or injured, then that should cover most basic conditions.
and I apologize, you don't have one in your pack now. I'll get that to you immediately following the work session. So you might review it.
Request, the coal tax law that you mentioned, is that what you're talking about? The only, the Department of Revenue collects all of our coal tax for us, and we sent them a request to make sure they were collecting the state and the local coal tax, sending it to us, and we received a reply back that we have to have something in writing from you all. I think Mr. Porter can speak to the law better.
The act we looked at last week was 1986 local act, that established the rate, and I think it, paraphrasing, but it established the rate as 60% more than Tuscaloosa County, Walker County, and Jefferson County, I think. But anyway, that established the rate, but it related it back to 1979 Act, which was a coal surface tax. And so if the question that the Department of Revenue needs to answer for us is whether or not they're collecting that tax. And I think the Department of Revenue is about the only one that can answer that question for us, and they have not yet. And to determine whether they're collecting both the local and the state. If they're not collecting the local tax, then the commission can establish that tax. That's what the law gives you the right to do, and determine the rate to be collected. And according to the statute, 50% of the tax goes into the general fund for general fund purposes, and 50% is supposed to go into a special fund for roads and bridges. And it says that where possible, that roads and bridges where coal it affects the use should be given priority. So when the Department of Revenue answers the question, we should be able to say, yes, it was, they are collecting it, or no, they're not.
And the email specifically says they need a signed letter requesting the information. What information specifically is requested and addressed to mail that information to? And then they will review it and get with the managers and get the proper approval to release that information to us.
So we need to handle that then? Or did you already?
Well, I have to have a signed letter,
Okay.
and I'm assuming it must come from the commission, since we attempted to do what we could with the Department of Revenue.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's going to need to come from you guys and state specifically what you were requesting, so that they can mail that to us if they get approval.
They've never in the past separated that, so we're really not sure if we've ever even collected this over the years, right?
Right, we get very little detailed information. We basically get a check.
Okay.
And we've asked for it many times in the past, and we've talked to the ACCA to try to get some help from them, and they said that they are working on it, because we're not the only county dealing with this issue. So it is something that I hope we get resolved this time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Will this have any adverse effect on this company that's going to be extracting this coal? Will it add an extra cost to them? But who pays that 60%? It'd actually be the coal company, correct?
Correct. It would be D&E. In this case, it'd be D&E, if they're not already paid.
Right.
I can promise you this, if we assess them, if the commission decides to assess the tax, and they're already paying it, they'll let us know.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Okay, next item is regarding safety coordinator resolution. Mr. Victor Bain, you got that?
Yeah, we found out today, now, we have a safety policy that we've done for about 2.5 years. Mott presently does that. And apparently we got an email today that while we've been doing that, the workman's comp company, Meadowbrooks, they've never had a resolution that says that we're doing this. So they need this by, was it the 31st? By December the 31st. Do you have a copy of this?
It is in there.
Okay. That just says that you have a safety coordinator and you have a policy and you're doing it. So it's I guess it was their oversight. We've done everything that they've asked, so I guess it was their oversight that you guys have never done a resolution to that. So that's what you need to do, and send it to them by the end of the year. Now, I've got a copy of a paper here that the last commission had done, and it had appointed Mike as the coordinator. If you would like to do another one, Ms. Sadie had signed it, if you'd like to do one, and you sign it there for me. And these are the things that have been doing to get the discounted rate. That's what we've been doing. To get those 9 items are the things that have to be done to get the discounted rate on workers' comp that we've been getting.
That would be something we just have to sign off on. Say
Yes.
Okay. So you've got the resolution in your packets there with, this is the standard, I guess, that they provide, correct? Okay, next item is one-time pay increase for the COA employees, Council on Aging, Ms. Rita Williams.
With the retirement of personnel with the Council on Aging, and also some other changes that we made in the personnel and in the budget, we have managed to realize a savings, so that I was wanting to ask if we could use the savings that we have in the budget to give a one-time pay increase to all Council on Aging staff, because in the past they have not received, well, they haven't had a pay increase since 2009. Of course, we haven't had any of the one-time pay increases that other county employees have had. So this would come entirely out of the Council on Aging budget, and it wouldn't need any additional funds from the commission.
Council on Aging is an agency for which the county is fiscal agent. We have a number, I won't say a number, several agencies like that, where they're not really under the county personnel policy as county employees. They work for Council on Aging and have never been considered as county employees under the personnel policy. Not to say they couldn't be, but they're not.
We have been at one time, back many, many years ago, but then things changed, and, with different administrations, things have changed. So we went out from under the county, and then we came back under the county. So,
We totally fund the Council on Aging, correct?
no, you give a local appropriation, and that's used for matching funds.
Oh, okay.
But like TARCOG contracts with the county to operate aging programs, and then ALDOT contracts with the county to operate the transportation program. And of course, we operate all of those out.
City of Stevenson, looking into a couple options regarding an urban pickup. One option is think about starting it yourselves. We got checked on some prices for units and other things, and felt like about a $2,200 a month lease would be a fair price for the truck. They would be responsible for all maintenance and that.
We'd have to set a time frame. I think we had discussed a shorter time frame, perhaps 90 days, which would be plenty of time for them to make a decision. Okay, so at this time, we will take about a 10-minute recess to get our meeting agenda together, and